A new Jurassic World book has now officially been listed for pre-order online, and in that book, we're promised to get secrets revealed on a lot of behind-the-scenes information. This ranges from not only the Jurassic World trilogy, but also Camp Cretaceous, some of the video games, and even more in what is being described as the ultimate visual guide to the second part of the Jurassic Park series. How these films evolved over time, what was abandoned during production, and the journey from script to screen are all things that fans have been eagerly looking forward to for a long while now. And that's not all, because another book revolving the first 3 movies is also set to release even sooner. And in this video, I'm going to go over all of the details and fill you guys in on what to expect from the new release. Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Now for today's video, I wanted to talk about the new Jurassic World trilogy book that has just been listed on Amazon. The description for the book reads as follows: "The park is open. Celebrate one of the most thrilling movie sagas of all time with this in-depth look at the making of the Jurassic World trilogy." Following the release of director Colin Trevorrow's smash hit Jurassic World in 2015, the dinosaurs of Isla Nublar once again dominate the public imagination. Jurassic World: The Ultimate Visual History delivers a comprehensive look at the making of the first hit film, as well as its thrilling sequels Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom and Jurassic World Dominion. Through rare and never-before-seen imagery and exclusive interviews with key creatives, this deluxe volume explores the entire creative process, from the film's stunning dinosaur designs to the epic location shoots and the creation of the film's incredible visual effects. Fans will also discover a fascinating look at the wider world of the saga, including the Netflix animated series Camp Cretaceous, video games, toys, comic books, theme park attractions, and more. Unearth the story behind the making of the Jurassic World trilogy with this definitive collector's book, a must-have for fans for the action-packed saga. Now, this is not the only book that's actually set to come out, because another one titled Jurassic Park: The Ultimate Visual History is actually set to come out next month. And this one pretty much is exactly what you'd expect. It just goes over Jurassic Park: The Lost World, and most interestingly, Jurassic Park 3, which is what I personally am most interested to learn about. The description is pretty much the exact same that it was for the Jurassic World book. The only difference is they're talking about the park films instead of the world films. But we do get a few images, and they are looking pretty cool. There's a few things I've never seen before, but to be completely honest with you guys, I own and highly recommend that all fans should pick up the books The Making of the Lost World and The Making of Jurassic Park by Jody Duncan. These came out in the 1990s, and they're incredibly in-depth with all kinds of information that goes over how these films got made. And they are also the reason why I'm not really extremely interested in seeing Jurassic Park and the Lost World through this visual guide book, and I'm really looking forward to Jurassic Park 3 because that film had an incredibly wild production. A lot of stuff got changed, the scripts were radically different, the ideas and casting, it was so vastly different to what we eventually got to see, and there was never a making of book for it. In fact, even the making of documentaries, they just go over, yeah, we were flying by the seat of our pants. So when it comes to the first 3 movies, it's the Jurassic Park 3 section that I'm looking forward to the most. You can also order this on Amazon. It's $20 cheaper than the Jurassic World stuff. So yeah, if you're interested, go ahead and look for it. Now, what I find to be really interesting about the Jurassic World visual history guide is the fact that we're finally going to get some information on the different drafts for stuff like Fallen Kingdom, outlines for Jurassic World Dominion, and just how the trilogy was supposed to set out and change over time. We know that this is the first time in the franchise that someone actually sat down and committed to telling a story in, you know, a form of part 1, part 2, and part 3, whereas the first 3 Jurassic Park movies are kind of like the Star Wars sequel trilogy, where they didn't have a plan, and the second film was really divisive, even though the first film was really popular, and the third film flew by the seat of its pants. So it is interesting to see that with the Jurassic World movies, they actually planned this stuff out, but what I'm really interested in seeing with this ultimate visual history guide is how these things changed over time, because we all have heard rumors of that Fallen Kingdom draft where Ian Malcolm was on the boat for most of the movie and that they were originally going to Site B and he had to sabotage some stuff, and there's also going to be wildly different things, I'm sure, for Jurassic World Dominion as well, especially after Fallen Kingdom came out, and you know, they had to react to some of the reception that came out for that movie. And speaking of Jurassic World Dominion and some of the outlines and changes that were made for Fallen Kingdom and other films, one other interesting thing that's probably in this book and probably detailed really well is how the production of Dominion may have changed during the pandemic. which is interesting because it seems like for third films in Jurassic Park series, they have some sort of tumultuous trouble with production, even though the script wasn't really what was getting changed on Dominion. It was more so the production around it because of the pandemic. So hopefully a well-documented list of things that may have changed or gotten shifted around during production are given there as well, because we know that that had to have impacted the movie some way, so documentation of that will be really, really cool to go over. And I think one other thing that's really interesting is how the evolution of Camp Cretaceous went about, because through all of the concept art that we've seen, there's all these different dinosaur designs for hybrids, there's different looks of the characters, there's different dinosaur designs and different designs for like the setting and the story and how that would have evolved over time, even from an animation standpoint. So starting in 2017 and eventually coming out in 2020, I'm sure there is a lot of interesting stuff in there that involves Camp Cretaceous in general. And since it is canon to the other films, that's going to be wildly interesting to see as well. And one of the other things that they listed here, guys, that I think is going to really, really be fun, if they actually commit to going well into it, because I'm not so sure they will, but you see here they list comic books. Now, I have gone over most of, if not all of, the Jurassic Park comic books on my channel. I've given extensive reviews for the stuff from the 1990s up to 2011. Now, when it comes to Jurassic World, believe it or not, there was going to be a comic book series. I believe it was going to be called Jurassic World Origins. It was officially licensed and actually ready to go, but they pulled the plug on it. So if they go into that in this book, that's going to be the first time we've ever had any information on it. And I just want to say, I don't know if they will, but they did list comics down here. Maybe they just copy and pasted stuff from the Jurassic Park trilogy book, but I really hope they go into the Jurassic World comics that never got released, because that would be an eye-opener for fans like me who've desperately wanted to see what they were up to back in 2016 and even 2017. God, I can't believe it's been this long since Jurassic World came out. Now, above all that stuff, we also have what I'm sure a lot of you are looking forward to, which is deleted scenes and what deleted scenes exist, particularly with Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom and more than likely Jurassic World Dominion as well, because, you know, a really long movie. I don't think it's 6 hours like Sam Neill says, but it's probably long and they probably cut some stuff out of it. Now, in terms of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, we know that they cut scenes out involving Iris's death and the Indoraptor, as well as scenes where the Indoraptor was playing with a skull. There was all kinds of other stuff involving dinosaurs on the island, and actually an incredibly different scene that involved Maisie that I know got cut from the film. So there's all this stuff that I'm sure that they could go over. I'm not so sure they will commit to it, but even then, the Fallen Kingdom production, there's going to be so many things there that are interesting to go over, like the white Indoraptor that they never fully committed to, or the Dilophosaurs being on the Arcadia. There's all kinds of ideas there that I'm really looking forward to personally, but we'll see how they treat Fallen Kingdom in the final release. And you know, we also got to look forward to those dinosaur designs and what got left behind and what changed over time, which is going to be really fun if they dive into Jurassic Park 4 before it became Jurassic World, because then we get to stuff like, you know, the raptors jumping out of airplanes and the John Sayles script. I don't know if they have to touch on that, I guess, but I don't know if they'll go too far into it, because that was kind of like a ship without a direction. That was back when Jurassic Park really didn't know what it was. So I hope that they commit to showing some of that. We'll definitely get to see the Malleosaurus and stuff like the Diabolus Rex. But yeah, I am really interested to see if they include stuff pre-Colin Trevorrow and J.A. Bayona. And there's one other thing that I'm really looking forward to too, which is the history behind the battle at Big Rock Short, which I have heard a few things about, but it'll be even more interesting to learn like why it was cut from the Hobbs and Shaw theatrical release. How did the conception go behind the scenes? Who came to who with what ideas? How involved was Spielberg with that? And what was Colin Trevorrow's mindset when he was going about and setting basically a story up that took place in between Jurassic Park 5 and Jurassic Park 6. It was incredibly well received, and Battle at Big Rock is something that, as far as like documentation goes for its production, there's like one Industrial Light and Magic video on YouTube. So hopefully they'll give us a lot of information behind that as well. And don't forget, there's also the Jurassic Park trilogy book. I already own Jurassic Park and the Lost World making of books, and I have a feeling they're really just going to focus on like Jurassic Park 3 in terms of new interesting things, which is what I'm interested in. But yeah, I'm more interested in this Jurassic World trilogy book because we've never had any info on the making of these movies this in depth, and as well as Camp Cretaceous, Battle at Big Rock, whatever those comic books they're teasing video games, like all those canceled stuff that never came out. That should be really fun to go over. Now, the Jurassic World Trilogy book is set to reveal a lot of information behind this franchise, and in all honesty, this is probably going to be our best look at how these movies have been made so far. While Jodie Duncan's books on Jurassic Park and the Lost World are incredible, we never really got anything like that for really any of these other movies in the series. So to have this documentation released to fans, including JP3, which I'm incredibly grateful for, this stuff is incredible, and it's something that I'm sure a lot of people like me are going to have a lot of fun going over when it's officially released. You can pre-order the books now on Amazon, which should be delivered just after the release of Jurassic Park 6. So 2022 is going to be a big year for Jurassic indeed. Anyways, guys, these are all just my own thoughts on the subject matter. Now, whatever yours happen to be, I'd love to hear them in the comments down below. Now, before I go, I'd like to thank all of my game wardens, as well as all of my InGen executives. I'd also like to thank all of my park workers and InGen hunters as well. Guys, it really means the world to me that you all continue to support what I do, and I never want you to ever forget that. Now, I'd like to thank you all for watching today's video and hope that you all enjoyed the content. If you feel like I deserve it, I'd appreciate the like and hope that you'll consider subscribing if you're interested in hearing from me again. I'll see you all in the next video, guys, and as always, take it easy.